So about 2 years ago, I sat down with my grandmother on her front porch and we just talked about her life and some of the things that I love most about her. And then at the end, she shared a little bit of her wisdom and insight and what she's learned over the years. And I have learned so much from her. The past, I guess it's been probably a year, she has been taking care and been the caretaker of my grandfather who's been struggling with just memory loss and working through that and being able to help him. And she's taking care of him 24/7. And that is such a sacrifice and shows so much love. They've been married for over 60 years and have a beautiful life that they've lived together. And I just thought, I've recorded this and wanted to keep this for my kids for years to come. But I thought I would share it because it's just so sweet and so special, hearing my grandmother share about her life. And it's a beautiful video and I hope you love it. I know I love my grandmother because she has been such a special person to me, and hardly a day goes by that I don't talk to her. But I thought I'd share. So show my grandmother some love in the comments and let her know how much you guys love her too. Do you love changing this kitty cat, Erin? So sweet.
She won't straight to the pole. Stick it right through here. Hey, Matilda, stick it through. Where is it? Where's your bread? You already fed it to her? Matilda. Hey, girl.
Wow, that is a beautiful cow, isn't it? Kirsten, what do you think? So pretty. Hey, girl, what do you see? Is Uncle Greg showing you the cow? She's so sweet. You seen all the moo cows? That is such a sweet video, Berkey. Look at you. You're beautiful. I got it.
You got it. Yay. Yeah, she must have thought I had money.
Aren't you pretty?
I do. I feel like this is my color.
It is
I'm
your
excited.
color.
So I like this.
I
And I
love
feel like
it.
it kind of matches you because I'm kind of...
Oh, it does match me. I went
Okay, so I got my notes on.
maybe a line.
Yeah. So Janie, when I think about some of my favorite things, honestly, I think you're the first person that got me interested in flowers, in growing things, in reading good books, and just honestly long quality conversations. I think you're the first person that really made me enjoy those things.
Well, I love to visit.
Yes, you do, and
I
that's
don't
rare.
myself.
That's rare now. People have quality conversations like that because people are so busy on their phones or on the
I
computer,
know.
and just to sit down and talk to somebody about life
It's not often.
it's not. But I love it, and I think about how many flowers I've grown. I think, you know what, Janie is the first person I ask about the best flowers to grow.
Oh.
How much to water them, how much sunlight they need. I mean,
Well,
I think you know every single plant, every single flower. You know the name of them. I think you do,
I
Janie.
wish I had to learn it. In school, we
Yeah.
had a wonderful home economics teacher, and I took it 3 years. In our senior year, we had to learn every plant's name and identify them with just a leaf and a piece
Are
of that
you serious?
for the test, and how to decorate and colors, china and silver. We had to learn all those patterns. Of course, people don't do the china and silver anymore for weddings, but that was a big thing to pick out before you got married. The china
Yeah,
and
and
the
you
silver.
are such a wonderful hostess when people come to visit you.
Oh.
You always have fresh flowers on the table. You always make the table with your special silverware and china. And
I love
you make people feel like they're welcome and loved.
I love a pretty table. I love a table that's set and ready for dinner. I like to keep my dining room table set, but my husband likes to put the mail on it.
It's okay. It's okay, Janie. I think it always looks beautiful. And then you really help me even now after I've been married. We're always talking about different books we're reading. You're talking about we're sending each other books, and I think that is really good to constantly be reading, because really you're learning if you're reading more.
I love a good book.
You do?
Now Casey's helped me a lot. She reads a lot, and her mom, and but I love a
You
good
read a
book.
lot of biographies.
I love them.
You do.
But I can waste a lot of time. I like to just read, and when I get a good book, it's hard for me to do the housework.
You just want to keep reading. I hear you, Janie. So that's inspired me a lot too. And then, Janie, you have one of the cleanest, most tidiest little houses. And so I think of that often, when I'm making my house tidy, making it smell good, making home just a peaceful place. Because that's what I think of every time I come here to the farm.
Oh, you're just so special.
Because it's so tidy and clean.
Well, it's not always.
It is.
I don't like clutter.
And you vacuum and mop everything with vinegar.
Vinegar water cleans everything.
Yes, and it's
Furniture.
so much better for you.
Yeah, you don't have to buy the expensive
stuff bad for
cleanser.
you.
Yeah. I don't like a lot of chemical sprays and different cleaners. They're strong, and I think they're harsh.
It's true. They're bad for you. I agree. So I think that's really admirable that all of these years you always have put an emphasis on keeping your house tidy and inviting. And just, I never worry, is this house dirty? Like, it always feels fresh and clean.
Oh, you're so kind. It's not. It's like I want it
I think
anymore.
you're just the sweetest little homemaker.
Well, you're so kind. You have to love something, and if you love it, you do it.
And you're good at it.
Yeah.
You are.
I'm not very patient a lot of times. So.
Well, Janie, and then another thing I love about you is just like I talked about the long talks. You're a great conversationalist. I mean, for as long as I can remember, even when I was a little girl, I would come get on your bed at night, and we would just talk for hours. And
we love to
and
lay
it's
on
never
the bed.
stopped. We've kept that up for years and years.
It's so special.
They're some of my best memories.
On the bed.
They are, yes. Staying up late, talking about everything under the sun, laughing, and Janie is so good about telling me about her childhood, because
I did love to talk about my childhood.
So Janie grew up. She had 2 hardworking parents, and they had 7 children. Let me see if I can name them.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so there's Rob, the first.
Jack.
Oh goodness, Jack. Rob.
Rose.
I gotta hang on. Rose. No, Gay, Irvin. Betty, Jane.
That's
okay.
us.
So there's 7 children. The oldest 2 have passed away. So there's 5 left. And Rose is at 92.
3. No, she just turned 93.
93, married to John, who's 96. Just, they're blessed with longevity. And I mean, just, that's a true blessing. But tell me a little bit about your childhood. A little bit about your favorite memories growing up, and then up until when you met Papa.
Ooh. A fun time.
It was.
Well, I grew up in the country on a farm. It was my mother's family's farm. It's a big farm, and my daddy's family were a business. They had a funeral home, and he wasn't much of a farmer, but of course Mama knew all about how to raise stuff. But Daddy tried. We had corn, we had cotton, and we had a big garden, lots of fresh vegetables, a big...
So basically my dream. That's my dream.
And we had a big 50-acre field where Daddy planted wheat, and we combined it, and we had big wheat bins in the granary, and we had big corn cribs that we kept the corn. We'd take the wheat to market. To the mill to grind fresh for bread. Had big barrels of flour,
like it.
And we had cornmeal. Take the corn to the mill, and we always had a pickup truck. Daddy had a new truck every 2 or 3 years. He wanted a truck, and there were a bunch of them. We could all get in the cab of the truck if we stacked in right. I would stand up, Betty would stand up, and then we'd all pack in that little truck. Went to Granny Kate's, that funeral home, every Sunday afternoon. Daddy would read the paper, and we had to sit real quiet and just be there. And then they'd let us go down to our cousins that were close to the funeral home, and we'd play. They were Ann and June, and they were Betty's age and Gay's age. Such fun people.
So you worked on the farm quite a bit growing up, didn't you?
When a little girl, Mama would take me to the pick cotton, and when I was a baby, and lay me in the cotton.
Are you
serious? And then when I wasn't in school yet, she'd make me a little sugar sack to pick cotton in, and I picked cotton. And then we had to hoe cotton, and I was little.
Well,
Daddy would hoe beside me and keep me up. He'd hoe me a big stretch. And we had to hoe cotton and pick cotton and pull corn.
You did it all.
Yeah, Mama canned all bunches.
She's probably the best cook in the world, I would imagine.
And we killed hogs, had fresh meat, fresh sausage, and hams.
Wow.
Country ham sliced. Mama would go slice it in the smokehouse. We cured it, and she'd slice it. I never did know how she sliced it so thin. And she made the most delicious yeast rolls every day in the summer.
Are you serious?
And she would cook a whole big pan, the ones like you get in the oven.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call them. But she would have those every night for supper with sliced tomatoes and country ham sliced, and it was just delicious.
Best thing you've ever had, probably.
It was. I can't make them. I've got a recipe, and I've tried to make them a couple of times.
But you are a really good cook. I've learned a lot from you.
Well,
you're a great cook.
As good as Mama. Everybody likes what they grow up with.
It's true.
It's hard to change.
But you had just the best childhood, wouldn't you say?
I guess it was. It was.
You're close to all your siblings.
Oh yeah, we loved so much, and we was together and slept together, ate together, worked together.
Yeah, you had a full childhood. So then you decided to become a nurse.
Oh yeah, I wanted to go to college, but financially, I tried all the way I could to get money to go, but. I ended up, going to nursing. Rose was a nurse, and of course I worshipped her.
Yeah.
And so at the end, I applied at a hospital in Sacred Heart. It was a Catholic hospital. Rose went to a Catholic hospital, Mercy. But I wasn't accepted. Sister Mary Peters, or whoever she was, said I needed to stay home. Thank heavens I did, because I was so homesick. I finally got in at Presbyterian, and it was a good school and a good hospital, and I'm glad I got in. I'm glad I went there, because they were really good teachers.
Yeah.
And the hospital was so nice. You either did it the Presbyterian way or it was the wrong way. So you learned early, and I met lots of friends. I was real popular in high school and nursing school. Just with people.
Well, I know. Well, you're such a good listener and such a good friend.
I do love people. I love people, and that's why I had a job at the hospital as a discharge planner, and I loved it. It was a real challenge. every case was hard.
Yeah.
But families are so desperate at that time.
It's true.
And I loved it. But I went to Blowing Rock Hospital when I got out of nursing school. I didn't want to stay in Charlotte.
Yeah.
I wanted to go somewhere to get out of Charlotte. I'd worked there 3 years.
Yeah.
So you had to work every day at the hospital.
Yeah.
And go to school and year round. And I thought, I'm going to go to a big hospital. I wanted to go to Emory. I wanted to go to some big hospital.
Yeah.
But I ended up going to Blowing Rock, which is a small hospital. In fact, it's in the mountains.
Okay.
It's a really resort town.
Okay.
And they were building a ski lodge at the time and a ski slopes. But I did work there on weekends. I was off.
And did you love it?
Oh yeah, I was crazy about Blowing Rock. There were only 2 doctors. Barbara McMacken was my roommate.
Okay.
We roomed together in Rockville, Maryland, where I did my psychiatric affiliation for 3 months.
Yeah.
And she was a real good friend, real dependable, sweet girl.
Oh.
So we decided, we saw a sign on the elevator door one day about Blowing Rock wanting nurses.
Oh.
So I said, Barbara, we ought to, because they were building a dorm for we could have free lodge and free meals.
Yeah.
Not much money, but we neither one had a car. So we had, how in the world we going to survive? But we did, and Barbara borrowed her mom and dad's car, and we moved in right after nursing school, and we had to work different hours, and it was hard, but it was a small hospital. And I learned a lot. Dr. Charlie DeVant, it's his hospital. He started the hospital. And he was a good little doctor.
Oh, had you met Papa at this point, or is
No,
that later?
I hadn't met Bill Bates.
Okay, so did you finish school before you met him?
Oh, long time before I met him.
Okay.
I wasn't going to get married. I wanted to travel, and I wanted to learn more and go.
Right.
And I wasn't wanting to get married. And well, I never got asked anyway.
Yeah.
I never got really involved with a boy until Bill.
Yeah.
So, unless you're really serious, nobody's going to be serious. I had lots of dates and lots of good boys, sweet boys. And one boy wrote a letter, and I, of course, laughed and thought it was funny, posted it on the board for everybody to read.
No.
He said, the ultimate goal in dating is marriage. So you don't date boys, it's not the marrying kind.
Okay.
Well, I did. I dated lots of boys. And they were good boys, and I loved to dance. And when I met Bill, he had just gotten out of college. He was in school a long time, and he was older.
Yeah.
And I thought he looked young, like a little boy, but he was 24 years old, and I thought, I really liked his friend he was there with. Well, he was at the beach with another house party.
Yeah.
And
you went to the beach.
I was at the beach with my roommate, Jeanette.
Okay.
And we were, she drove a little MG, the cute little car.
Oh.
We just had such fun. And she was a year ahead of me in nursing school.
Yeah.
We were swimming. It was a Sunday afternoon. And I was on the beach, and I had just had my hair frosted.
I bet you were.
Bill thought I was a blonde. Well, I was sort of a blonde, but I didn't want to get out in the sun with it because it was a new hairdo. And a little boy was on the beach with a big old float, and I thought he wasn't using it, and I asked him if I could borrow it, because Bill and his friends were out in the ocean on floats, riding the waves in. I thought, I'm going to do that. So I get the float and I go out in the ocean, but I'm not going to get my hair wet now. I'm just going to use the float.
Right.
Well, Bill runs over me with his float.
No, I didn't know that.
And got me wet And I was so upset, and he was hanging on to my float talking. I still didn't know.
What did he say to you?
Well, know who I was and where I was from, and we talked, and he just finished Erskine College. Well, I'd never heard of Erskine College, nor had I heard of Due West. I thought, where in the world is that? But anyway, we talked, and then we went out and sat under a little thing for a long time and talked. He talked my ears off.
Yeah.
I thought, that boy don't shut up. And I thought, you meet him and you say, I'll never see him again.
Right.
But then he said, well, let's go get a sandwich. So we did. There was a cute little place at Ocean Drive Beach.
Oh.
And the name of the place we were staying, he was at a house party, and we were staying in a motel on the beach, Helms Motel. It's torn down now, and there's a big high-rise there now.
Yeah.
But anyway, we went and got a sandwich, and at the dinner table, we just reached over and kissed me. He said, looked like you wanted to be kissed. I said, I guess I did.
Whoa, on the first day?
The first meeting. It wasn't even a day.
Oh, my
And then he
goodness.
asked me to go out that night to have dinner, and I said, well, double date with his friends. And Jeanette, of course, didn't have a date, and she's real upset about it. She wanted to go on home.
Yeah.
And I thought we'd stay. And the next thing I knew, I was working 3 to 11 in the hospital back home in Charlotte and in the recovery room. And they called me. I wasn't supposed to get personal calls.
Yeah.
It was Bill. He had driven up there, found my apartment, found my hospital, and said, I'll be waiting on you. I thought, you meet people at the beach, and they're different at the beach. You don't want them to come home.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was there, and he bugged me to death. He was up there every time I turned around.
And you must have fell in love somehow.
He was so sweet. I didn't want to. I didn't want to
couldn't
get
help
married.
it.
I know it, and you sometimes can't help who you love.
You just
But
can't
he was the
help it.
sweetest thing, and he was so persistent. Had he not been really persistent, I wouldn't have married him.
Wow.
But he was bugging me to death. Marry me, marry me, marry me.
Oh.
He was looking for a job. He had gone to school and majored in phys ed and was going to be a coach.
Yeah.
Well, he never coached a day in his life, and he decided it didn't pay enough money because he had worked in a plant and made good money. And he thought better than school teaching. Right. His oldest brother was a teacher and also a Methodist minister.
Yeah.
But Bill, I said, well, Bill, I'm not marrying you until you
get a job. It's kind of important.
Daddy wanted to know what kind of work that boy did.
So did he get a job?
Finally, in Charlotte, that's when he got hired as a counselor in juvenile court.
Wow. Okay.
And it was a good job, and he loved it. And but he gave me a diamond Christmas Eve.
Oh.
And I didn't want to take it. I was afraid he had a ring. I asked his sister. She says, I don't know. I said, what should I do? I don't want to take a diamond. I don't want a diamond. I don't want to get married yet. I want to live. But anyway, he had a diamond in his pocket. And I knew it was in his pocket, and he wouldn't give it to me. And we went into Greenville, Church Street, and went to a club that he went to, and we were going there to eat and dance. I had danced with him one time in Charlotte at a party, and I knew he could dance.
He's a good dancer.
A real good dancer. And I love dancing with him, and we've danced all our married life until recent.
So you married Papa Bill.
I took that diamond.
Yeah, you must have fell in love. You couldn't turn it back. It looked pretty good on you.
He was such a sweet guy.
He is such a sweet
He was just kind. And I love being with him.
Well, there you go.
So
You got married and
we
had
got
Dad.
married and
Was your
had
first little boy.
Gil was the first baby, and he cried and cried.
Was he fussy?
He didn't have the right formula.
Okay.
The doctor I had and the pediatrician I had did not want me to breastfeed. They wanted me to put him on a bottle because he's only 5 pounds and 6 or 7 ounces. And they said he's got to gain, and I don't want him, he don't get enough milk nursing, and you want him on Similac. That's what all the doctors were doing. Well, he didn't like Similac, and he brought him home, and he was losing weight. And I couldn't get, and I called the doctor, and I'd weigh him every day. I had a set of scales, baby scales, and the doctor says, no. I said, look, I'm going to put him on pet milk. He said, well, you're going to have to sterilize. I said, I don't care. I want mine sterilized in bottles. And I did, and he started to grow, and he quit crying. He was crying at night, like his little tummy hurt, I guess.
Yeah.
And he was hungry, probably.
Yeah.
But he would not eat. But anyway, he was just precious, and everybody loved him and adored him. And
He was cute.
I was working. I had to go back to work. I was working in an operating room.
Oh, dear.
And it was hard, but it was during the day. I had day shift. We just had one car, and Bill would ride the bus to work downtown Charlotte.
Okay.
And it was hard. It was a real adjustment. We had a little apartment, 1 bedroom. Gil slept in our room in a little cradle.
Oh.
And then we had a bed, not just a porta-crib bed.
Yeah.
He was in the living room, and he walked early, he talked early, he just did everything early. He talked young and started talking sentences.
Oh, my.
He didn't talk words.
Oh, my God.
Babysitter we had, she was keeping him, and she had a fit. I'd take him there in the mornings, and he asked, he says, may I have some orange juice? But he did. He was on a bottle, of course. He could climb the cabinets and get his bottle out, and the powders family and get it out. Finally got him off the bottle. It wasn't hard. I told him the trash man took. He loved to see the trash man.
Oh, no, so the trash man took
He wanted to be a trash man when he grew up.
Oh, my goodness.
But and then I wanted another baby within 2 years. Because,
So you could be friends.
Oh, yeah, and close. Of course, I thought he was to be a little girl, and I just knew my second baby be a little girl.
Oh, no.
And he was a little boy. And Greg was sweet and the perfect baby.
Yeah.
Slept all the time.
Wow.
Have to wake him up to feed him. Bill moved to Asheville, and we were apart. And I was expecting Greg.
Oh, wow.
And I worked 3 to 11 at night.
Oh, bless your heart.
And Mama would keep Gil. He was the funniest little boy.
Then you had Jenny how many years later?
Well, then we moved to Asheville just a short while, and Bill took a job in Anderson with vocational rehabilitation, where he was a counselor here. And it was more money, of course. We weren't even unpacked in Asheville.
Oh, wow.
We stayed there. He was there about, I guess, 6 months.
Okay.
And we moved to
Anderson.
Anderson, in the house, dirty
Oh,
yard. Nice little house. So I had three
potential.
bedrooms and 2 nice baths and nice kitchen and living room. But it was not in a real good section. But I didn't know that, because I didn't know anybody in Anderson, and I did not want my kids to be raised in South Carolina. I was real sad. I did not want to move here. I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
It's a different culture. I went downtown, and we always dressed up to go downtown.
Yeah.
In Charlotte, you dressed up. You didn't go downtown in curs. Might as well been in your slip. And anyway, it was an adjustment. But Bill's mama was a dear, but she had a hard life. She lived in Belton. I went to my mama and daddy's house with the diamond, and everybody was screaming and hollering.
Yeah.
And Bill didn't know what was going on. Crazy.
You had Gil and Greg.
I had Greg here in Anderson
Yeah.
with the obstetrician I didn't know. And
And was it 2 years later?
He was, yeah.
After that.
They were both due on the 18th of January.
Okay.
And Greg came the 18th of January, and Gil turned 2
Oh, the first.
first.
Yeah.
So that's how close they were. And I was glad. I wanted to, and we wanted them close together. And it was good. It was another little boy. But I thought, I've got to have a little girl.
Oh.
And one of my pediatricians says, Jane, you need to go ahead and have a girl for you 30 because you're going to be coming in here whining. I wish I had a little girl.
Oh.
So, and of course, Bill didn't want any of the children. The boys are old enough to go camping and fishing, and we're in good shape now. I don't want another baby.
Oh, good.
Well, in the meantime, I wanted a house. And so Bill came home. I said, I found us a house. We can't afford a house. Well, we can't afford a house.
So you did?
So we did. We bought a house, and it was so nice, you know. The yard was nice.
Yeah.
And Greg was 4
Okay.
when I had my
Jenny.
daughter Jenny. And Bill wasn't excited about it.
It didn't take long, though, I'm sure.
Well, he finally decided it was all right, and you can fix that extra big room.
Yeah.
But
That little girl can change your heart.
I know, and she was a little girl, but I couldn't believe it. They kept saying, she's a girl, she's a girl. Well, she was.
My goodness.
Then we lived there until Bill found this farm. Wallace was his good friend, and he seemed like he wanted to do everything Wallace did. I accused him. I told him he might as well married Wallace, I said. But they had moved down here, building a house.
Yeah.
And they told Bill about this house that we're in now. And farm. Well, he said he'd always wanted to farm. Well, he didn't know a cucumber from a squash and didn't know a cucumber was a pickle.
Oh,
He knew nothing about farming.
But you knew everything, probably.
I knew lots about farming, and I was raised on the farm, and I wanted to stay in the city.
You knew how much work it was.
I did know how much work.
Wow.
And the house was old. It had only fireplaces to heat, and we moved here again right before Christmas.
But this has been the home place for as long as I can remember, and I love it.
Well, I know it, and all the grandchildren love it, and I'm glad. I'm glad we're here, and I love it, really.
Yeah.
You can't
It's home.
not love it.
Yeah, it is.
It's peaceful.
So you've grown all of these flowers. It's always surrounded in flowers and special plants and trees. And
Oh, I do love it, and I've tried hard. Bill could care less about a yard.
yeah.
He did not care a thing about cutting the grass.
That's not his cup of tea. But it's so beautiful and so peaceful.
And
Like
set
you
out
take
a
such
plant.
you take care of the garden and everything.
Well, I
you've had.
love a garden.
Yeah.
When it gets springtime, you just almost
It
have
makes
to
you want to do
dig
it.
in the
Yeah,
dirt.
you do.
Just something about it. It's just,
Yeah,
it's special.
it's
I
true.
think God meant for us to
I think
dig
you're
in
right.
the dirt and to plant.
It's healthy.
Uh-huh.
It is. So I love that about the farm. It's always in perfect condition. But I have a few questions for you
Oh,
because I know you have so much wisdom and I've learned so much from you. But since you've been married for 58 years, what would your marriage advice be if you could pick one thing?
well, pick a husband that you love, because you better love him a lot before you marry him, because when you get married, you really have to love him a lot. I mean, you've got to give 110, 150%. It can't be 50-50, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
and Bill and I've always, we communicate different than most couples. We have a lot of differences, and of course we get mad about something and fight about something, and then later you couldn't even remember what it was about. I had no idea what it was about. It's strange how you can just get so angry and then all of a sudden it's not important. It's always minor stuff.
Yeah.
We had the same feelings about discipline and morals and church, and so that was not a problem.
So your advice would be to marry somebody that you really love and then
really
invest into your relationship 110%.
And
just give it your all.
You have to.
What is your number one advice for mothers raising your children?
You've got to love them. I mean, you have to discipline, but you've got to love them. Yeah. Love is the most important thing in a child, and you've got to be compassionate, and you've got to be nurturing. You can tell somebody when they're cold and don't want to hold them tight and kiss them and love them. Yeah. That's the main thing. I mean, I'm not a perfect mother, and I sure regret some. I was bad to holler loud at the children. Don't do that. My mama said, Jane, you cannot holler at these children. Well, they say now, we just thought it was normal, bless their souls. They didn't know any better. But I had to leave them with babysitters, and that was hard. That was his hardest part.
Oh, it'd be terrible. Well, you were a very good mom, and I know everybody admires you, and you're even more, but I think a better grandmother and great-grandmother.
I'm a great-grandmother.
Oh,
I'm so
I
proud.
think you're the best grandmother in the whole world. You've been so invested in my life. I was thinking, the other day, I don't think you ever missed a recital. Or, I would have recitals for my students.
Yeah.
You would drive down for everyone.
I love being there.
Every piano recital I have, you drive 4 hours there to come be at it.
It was so fun to come and see them.
Oh, I was just so proud to have you there, because not a lot of grandparents would make that a priority. So
Well,
you were always a huge part of my life.
I'm so
And
proud.
now, we Marco Polo almost every day of the week.
We try.
We try very hard, and sometimes it can be for a long time.
I know.
But I pretty much know every meal you eat, what the weather's like, what flowers are blooming.
And what I did that day.
I love it, and I would say you're probably one of my best friends, and I love it that way.
I do.
I love it. I wouldn't want it any other way. So I just have one more question.
What's your other question?
My last one. How do you stay so positive and uplifting even when you're going through a hard situation at times?
If you don't pray continuously, and that's the truth, you can't survive. How anybody survives without it, I don't know. Because you have to. It's life's hard. And you run into things that you don't know what to do, and you just got to pray about it. I don't pray in a crowd. I don't pray out loud. I'm a closet girl, and but I do. I have to pray a lot, and have always. As a child, I remember just small child. You're taught to pray when you're just little, and you teach your children to, but they're in, until you get grown, every stage of life is so different. You don't realize how important it is.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can't survive just thinking you're in charge.
That's true.
And you got to live just the moment and the day.
Yeah.
You can't be worrying about tomorrow or
time.
planning something on what you got to enjoy what you're doing right now. I'm not gonna plan what I'm gonna do tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
No.
I want to be right here with it and with these wonderful children. Of course, Gil and Kelly taught me a lot. Your mom taught me a lot.
Very well.
She was really smart, and she helped me a lot. And both of them, they were just good for me at that age, because you need all the help you can get from people.
I agree, JJ. That's sweet. All your kids are just so, they love you.
Well, you gotta love to be loved, but love really hurts too.
Yeah, tough
If you
love
don't
sometimes.
love, you don't hurt so bad.
Yeah. Well, Janie, I'm grateful for you, and I'm so happy you're one of my best friends. I have the best memories with you, and
You're so special.
I hope you live to be 100.
Oh no, I
Yes.
don't want to live to be 100. I want to, as long as I can walk and think about what's real and not be
Lose it.
lose it. I don't want to lose it. Please help me not to lose it.
You're a sweetheart.
My mom and dad didn't, and they were strong people.
Yeah. Well, I remember as soon as I was old enough to drive, the first place I wanted to come was here. I'd come here at least every month when I was after I could drive. So in college,
I loved you coming.
and then as soon as I met Chad, all we do pretty much for hours would sit on the bed or sit on the porch and talk about Chad for hours.
Ooh, we did talk about that boy before we was even dating. We had him planned out.
We all loved him.
Everybody wanted Chad.
He was everything. Not much has changed. Everybody still adores him, I guess.
know it. I'm telling you, he's just, I can't believe how he knows so much.
Oh, he does.
He's smart. He's got
He
so
is.
much wisdom.
And he's
You are lucky
the
to
best,
have him.
the best husband and the best daddy.
Well, I tell you, you're
I'm
really
just-
fortunate.
I still don't know how I got him, but I
Well,
know
I
probably
know.
90% of our conversations revolved around him.
Well, I tell you.
You gave me all my relationship advice.
It didn't take much
And
to
Papa
look.
Bill, he was so fun. We just had the best time, so I'm so grateful for that. I love you, Jane. That was a good talk.
The heat just kind of
Dissipates, yeah.
got a lot of pop
It is peaceful to hear them wild things over there.
That's amazing. Carson, can you smile for the picture?
He's serious.